Yeah, we're off in good shape on today's Bandstand. Today's Hollywood Hotline call is about, 4 years old, I guess. It may strike a familiar chord to you because once before we chatted with the Beatles here, and in anticipation of their visit next week when they'll be performing Strawberry Fields Forever and Penny Lane, we thought it would be interesting to reflect back on how perhaps they've changed a little bit, and the answers to their questions would be certainly different these days. Now, if you can put in your mind back to the early days, the first record is a giant hit. People all over the world are just beginning to talk about the Beatles. Now, we took down the transcript, and I said something like, it's a big thrill to have the Beatles with us here on American Bandstand. And somebody said,
Thank you. Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here.
And then I think I got a hold of John. I said, John, can you tell us how the name for the Beatles was decided upon? And he said,
well, I had a vision when I was 12, and I saw a man on a flaming pie, and he said, you are Beatles with an A, and we are. That's called that. Well, that's how it started anyway.
You notice how the answers in those days were as flip, I guess, as they would be today, but it started a whole trend of that sort of an answer. Let me see what I asked them next. When did you make your first recording? I asked that of Paul.
We made our first record at the beginning of 1963, and we had a hit with that. But I think the whole bit really started when we did a Palladium show, and then later we were asked to do the Royal Variety Command performance, you know. And we met the Queen Mother, and she started clapping.
And Princess Margaret, too.
Yeah, and Princess Margaret.
Now, this is an interesting answer because in its day, it was quite astounding because remember, this was early in the Beatles' career, but I asked George, how many records have you sold so far?
Well, the last count was 6 million, I think. That's just Ringo's record. You know, the others don't sell.
6 million records at that point. Now, as of January 1967, the Beatles, according to the Daily Mail of London Book of Golden Records by Joseph Morells, says they have sold 150 million records so far. So you can get an answer to that. Now, Ringo got on the phone. We said, we understand this, you know, when everybody was interested in the hair and so forth, and then in addition to the records, we said, we understand that your records are beginning to sell all over the world.
Yes, well, we've heard that our latest record, I Wanna Hold Your Hand, came into the Australian top 20 right in at #1, which is very nice. And I think it's selling in Finland and Sweden and other places like that too.
And then there was just sort of an exchange about, you know, that looks like a sign of real big success, and we hope you continue to sell many more, to which he said,
well, that's a nice thing to say, isn't it?
We're very lucky.
This was the kind of a time when people were, you know, astounded with the long hair bit, and you would never ask him a question like this today, but we said, tell me, is it true that you have your own personal hairdresser?
No, it's a dirty rumor, we don't.
No, we cut it ourselves.
Paul got on the line then, and I said, how did you get the idea for the hairstyle?
I think it was my dad, really. He said, you know, Paul, it's a bit square, the haircut I had, you know, short back and side. He said, why don't you get a Beatle cut, son?
Thanks.
And as you can see, their influence has been seen all over the world. This question would still be appropriate today to the Beatles. Do you ever worry about the audiences getting out of control at your appearances?
Well, they get exuberant, you know, but we enjoy it. We don't come to any harm. Because the policemen are equally as exuberant, you see. The police have a great time.
It was a lot of fun in those days. As you see now, they no longer make personal appearances. They do record together. And I said something about, yes, I guess the police do have fun. Thank you very much for visiting with us. And they said,
Pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
that was the Beatles a few years back. You'll see a fantastic change next week when they appear here on American Bandstand. Ed, have you got a picture of them still over there, what they look like? No, you're off that now, but you'll notice a definite change between then and now next week on American Bandstand when they perform this song.